Are you ready?
Seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts
right here, right
This
now.
is a message to all the haters out there. If you don't like what I do, but you watch everything I'm doing, you're still a fan.
Don't know where you at, don't know where you been, don't know nothing about that boy you're into. Don't feel bad for you, but I feel bad for him, and all the hell you gon' be putting him through. Tried to tell him we're a burnt out flame, tried to tell him that I ain't been on your mind. I ain't nothing but a long gone thing. You can cuss my name, but baby, don't you lie. When you're tasting what he's drinking, are you thinking about me? When you're riding where he's driving, are you missing my street? Every time you close your eyes, tell me who do you see? When you're tasting what he's drinking, are you thinking about me? Coming over tonight, wish that turkey no die. Whose mind is like, you know it's supposed to be.
What's going on, everybody? This is your main man, Smooth Baron, and you're tuned in to Hog HQ. Woo! Pig Sue! Wee! Go Hogs!
Go Hogs. Shout out to Isaac Smooth Baron for the intro right there. Look, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're back with another episode of Hog HQ Live, brought to you by the Hog Talk podcast. Okay, this is episode 70. We took a week off. It was Mother's Day weekend. Shout out to all the moms out there. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I got to introduce the guys. This dude right here. This is Adam. Yeah, with the hat. Two sides. Must be two sides. And then that gentleman over there. This is Mr. Hart. Hart is back in the building. We are glad to have that man back with us on the screen. So we are back 3 deep on the pod. You see what's on the screen? We're going to get all into all of the goodness that comes with it. But look, I do want to ask you guys a question before we get started. And I know you know what it is because it's on the screen. You got to tell a friend to tell a friend. You got to share it. You got to like it. You got to subscribe because it's free on YouTube. It's free to just subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. But we appreciate the subscriptions of people who already have subscribed and share the content to people who are into hog content. So we definitely thank you guys for that. I do want to get into something real quick. A lot has gone on since we missed a week. A lot is going on in the world of sports in general. Sidebar. Anybody familiar with this dude right here?
George Pickens, the newest Dallas Cowboy.
Yeah.
AB 2.0 post concussion.
Hey, look. So before you start asking, this is the replacement. Who is he? I know you don't know. So he was the number 1 receiver for the Michigan Wolverines the year they won a championship. We drafted him after they won a championship. So that's our replacement guy. Shout out to the Ravens. Did y'all have somebody get suspended again or something?
Huh?
In the Ravens?
Justin Tucker's no longer on the team.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah, your kicker, Mr. Feelgood. Either way,
that was on the wall whenever we drafted a kicker, so you knew what was inevitable. And I'll just say this, there's been nothing that's even happened. They tried to say Ravens. I know that was a bullshit thing for y'all to say. Oh, this was a business decision. Bullshit. Because even Justin Tucker's worst season was still better than a lot of other kickers' seasons.
This is true.
So you just wanted to separate yourself, especially with, I don't want to put this lightly, but the history of some players that you've had in your franchise.
Oh.
You just separate yourself when stuff comes up.
Oh.
So he'll go end up in Cleveland and be with best buds with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. And they'll look like Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. And
go buy his autographs while they're cheap because he'll still, hit the Hall of Fame at some point.
Ooh, give me that one and that one. All right. Moving on. I do want to ask a question before we get into this show for real, though. Mother's Day, real talk. So did you guys, I know you guys are closer to your parents than I am to mine. Did you guys get a chance to spend time with moms?
Yeah.
Okay, so Hart, so how was Mother's Day? Did you get anything special? Y'all just spend time? Did you get on the grill? What happened?
We just spent time and then went and saw my grandpa as well, her mom. So it was kind of a generation thing.
Gotcha. Adam? This is the part where you answer the question.
No, we hung out, had lunch, bought her candles that she liked because she's one of those candle freaks.
Gotcha.
Got her some shirts off of our store.
Oh, that's dope.
I've gotten some Northside shirts on there. She went to Northside as well. And then show shirts so she can rock them around Fort Smith. She's out and about more than I am, so
represent for her baby. That's what's up, man. Definitely call moms. Of course, she's in Arkansas, I'm in Georgia, but she is coming down this weekend, so we definitely gonna spend some time. Got something special for her. My wife put something together, so definitely gonna be a good time. My wife enjoyed herself though. I sent her and my son to Vegas for Mother's Day.
What did your son get her?
You really don't want to know. See, I understand how this works now, where you have to give the gift for the child because they're not. Yeah, it was a lot of money though. But like I told her, she didn't need it, but she wanted it, but she didn't need it, but she got it. So
that's what you do on days like that. So
yeah, just
don't ask questions. Just
it came in the mail because she called me from the store with the rep and was like, "Is this the bag? Is this what we're doing?" And then she slid the card and showed up, and I was like, "It's nice. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy birthday." A lot of money. Anyhow, let's get into the show. Enough of the bet. Boom. Let's get straight to it. Dave Van Horn and the guys, baseball team, right? Go ahead and take on the Vols. They tried to make it a big deal. Tony Vitello, we showed the old clips, them going back and forth, him and DVH. And this was a situation where the Vols actually need to sweep the Razorbacks in order to take over their spot in SEC rankings, but were unsuccessful. Dave Van Horn, the guys, found a way to get it done. This was a great show. Was it 2-1? 2-1?
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, it was nice to watch that last one because that's one I really pay attention to. The last one and watch how it seems like all the games that we've seen all year long, the ones where we dominated people, the midweek games as well as the SEC games where we faltered and then all of a sudden the whole world was falling, the sky was falling. They put it all together in this series. And it was a great series, man. It showed me a lot about that team, the resiliency of some of the players, Dave Van Horn's ability to find that thing in each player and then make them give their all in regards to the game. Hart, I'm going to start with you. What did you see in regards to this particular weekend's matchup versus the Vols, and what were the Hogs able to show you going in tournament play, which we'll transition into later?
Well, I saw the offense really step up when we needed it. Now we left a lot of runners on base, but we did step up and got crucial hits like the grand slam with Ryder Helfrich yesterday. We seemed to come through. We also had some pitchers that have been struggling some come through with Fouch and McIntyre, so that was good to see them come in. We saw a little bit of a different rotation this weekend when we saw Jimenez start. But he didn't turn out as we had hoped, but his first start, so we'll see. We'll see what happens going to the future, into the tournament and past. But all in all, it was a good. The bullpen stepped up big and held everything down for the most part. And like I said, it was good seeing offense just doing what they did, especially against the top pitcher in the SEC.
Yeah, no doubt about it. True McIntyre, Will McIntyre, batters retire Hogs at 3. Absolutely, Justin. Absolutely. Look, the boys look good, man. It was interesting to see. What was that? I think that was a 6th run, Lord at bat. And when I tell you he swung, and then that thing was gone into the bleachers. So it was dope to see. It was dope to see just to see how these guys. You didn't see them waver. That's the thing I think I've seen the most. They didn't waver. They stayed the course. They knew what the objective was for the whole weekend, and they took care of business. So, Adam, in regards to the game 1 through 3, what did you see? What did you like? What are some things you think we can look forward to going to time?
The first game, I mean, I've been kind of strong on the opinion of winning the first game to like set the tone. So losing the first game, I was kind of leery of the rest of the week, but then or the weekend. Came out game 2 and, just it felt like I'm not going to say a completely different team because it was one of those that with just some miscues in the first game. It wasn't just an all around like ass whooping or whatever.
Right.
So Matt said, leaving runners on bases hurts, but both teams were doing it. There was a lot of hits all weekend between the teams. So that to me is a good sign going into the SEC tournament and postseason, which we'll get into the SEC tournament. You don't need to win it. Who cares? I'm not really worried about that part of it, but it was good after struggling against LSU to see the bats come alive. The moonshot grand slam from Helfrich was beautiful. So all around, I was pretty pleased. They did what they needed to do to control their own destiny. No matter what happens in the SEC tournament, I'm not sure when they're going to name who, what, when, where. I guess after the tournament, I don't see any reason that they're not going to be obviously hosting and potentially even top 4 to get super regionals as well.
Yeah.
So it was great. McIntyre looked phenomenal. And hey, I'm going to play this clip. I do actually have a clip. I'm going to play this clip, and you guys tell me what you think he said.
What he said. Okay, yeah.
And McIntyre gets him looking. You mentioned Will McIntyre. What a great story. His first year was 2020.
Whoopik Suey.
I think he said, "I own you." Is that what he said?
I get that could be. I was going with the what's the edited remix of that CeeLo song, "Forget You"?
Yeah. Forget you. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the edited version. Whatever.
Hey, Will said, "Love you." That's what he said.
Yeah. And it's like Porter and I talked about on Hog Talk, and I saw it in the comments, especially comments in HQ when that video was shared. There's a lot of folks that I guess had some issue with him doing that. And it's one of those things that we don't see the back and forth that we see in football and basketball and baseball.
Right.
So I'm all for it. These guys aren't like running up and down a court or going head to head like on a field from each other or on a football field. So, pitcher's mound to plate, like the jawing back and forth, go for it. The bat flips, go for it. The trotting when you hit a big home run or grand slam, go for it, because that's really the only time that baseball players get to like shit on the other player. That's their time to brag. That's their time to boast.
Todd said no. He said, "Stop it, Billy."
And they did flip one of the bats at our dugout on one of the home runs, and I think that got under our skin.
Well, see, this is the thing. It depends on, we talked about this. I think on our very first show, we talked about the different types of Razorback fans. You have some traditionalists who just say, "Hey, just be tasteful, just play the game, keep your mouth shut, keep your head down." And then it's the other people who just be like, "I like all the swagger, I like the bat flips, I like the hanging on the rim, I like, the
tea bags.
Yeah, all that good stuff." So it just depends on who you are. At the end of the day, I think nobody's wrong in that regard. You are the type of fan that you are, and you like what you like, and there's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, we want to see the Hogs win, and that's what we saw. So,
well, people want to see, emotions from players. They want to see this, but then they do it, and people seem to get upset about it. So it's like, which do you want? Can't have your cake and eat it too. Do you want them to shut up and dribble, or do you want them to poke the bear a little bit?
Gotcha.
And let's be clear too. I mean, when it comes to a Tony Vitello-led Tennessee team, there's a whole lot of shit talking that comes from that dugout.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So by the time these players get up there and actually face each other, there's a lot of animosity that we don't all get to see unless you're, right there in the moment.
Gotcha. Will, I will get your comment before we get to rolling. But we do want to talk about this SEC tournament. I do know we like I said, we look to host regionals, but looking at the setup for the tournament, at the end of the day, as you stated, Adam, it's not about winning. Who gives a damn, right? You put in the work during the regular season. It's all about putting up the numbers, showing what you can show on film, and then actually being lined up with a quality opponent across the board to be able to make a run. So that's what it's all about. Do you have? I know you said you had a screenshot, something like that.
Oh, you're wanting that now? Let me see if it is. Sure. Might as well. Put me on the spot here.
I mean, why ask here when you can ask Adam?
I will say, I don't expect us to go far in the tournament. I just think we're going to be kind of one and done, maybe win one and then get out.
Well, this is a couple shows ago. We talked about the format of the tournament. This is going to be the wild part. Now that's little bitty unless I'm not actually make it bigger. Either way it goes.
That's what she said.
That part. So looking at the tournament, you talked about the sequence of how they're going to do the games. What can you explain the sequence of games again, please?
Why don't you get some filler and I'll look it up right quick.
Okay, so Matt, looking at this particular lineup, where do you see us being seated at?
We are the second seed. Texas is number 1. We are number 2. LSU is number 3. And I want to say Vandy was number 4. And this was our third straight 20-win season. So that's kind of a achievement in itself, albeit it's the regular season, but still.
A win is a win.
So it's a revised format. Continue to be a 6-day tournament with 4 games each on Tuesday and Wednesday, 2 games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, followed by a championship game on Sunday. Teams seeded 9 through 16 open the tournament on Tuesday. Those winners advance to face teams 5 through 8 on Wednesday. Number 1 and 4 seeds will begin play on Thursday, 2 and 3 Friday against winners from the previous. And the semifinals will be played on Saturday with the championship game slated for Sunday. So it looks like it doesn't mention anything. Before it was the whole double elimination, single elimination, back to double elimination.
Right.
Looks like they've now done away with that, at least temporarily. Which I'm good with, because that was the biggest gripe before of everybody's you go from double elimination to single elimination to double it was just kind of sucked, because if you were that single elimination and you lost, you had teams lose that had only lost 1 game, but then a team another team may get another chance because of the double elimination.
Right.
So it's just always been kind of weird, but I prefer that more so than previous years.
Yeah, I guess somebody in the coaches got together and talked to the commissioners like, you're barking up the wrong tree, pal. At some point.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
So Arkansas is Friday, game number 11 at 3 p.m. So they'll play the winner of game 7, which is the 7 seed, versus the winner of game 3, which could be the 10th. So Arkansas will either play the 7, 10, or 15 seed. And I don't have the rankings in front of me.
Gotcha. Have they talked about television viewership?
I believe with the SEC tournament, the majority of it's going to be like it's all supposed to be on the SEC network.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So now when we get to the NCAA tournament, like with softball, because I know there's been a lot of complaints, it's split between ESPN's and ESPN Plus in the early rounds with so many teams. And then as it goes on, like I think each day on the softball, it's been kind of like split, like early games are on ESPN Plus and then later games are on some of the ESPN networks.
Gotcha.
And then I think as teams dwindle down and there's less games, you'll see more of those on actual networks.
Okay. Cool.
And some people act like it's foreign, but this happens every year. So
Ty says just no interest in the SEC tournament, please.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why you just gotta, in my opinion, when you're, like I said earlier, I think Arkansas is a top 4 in the national tournament. If you're Arkansas, like I said, you don't want to go out and lose, but treat it kind of like a midweek. Use different pitchers, use different rotations. Like do things. I mean, you don't want to like get guys cold by any means, because then you're going to be looking at potentially another week before they play. But mix things up, try things up. Don't have guys go 5, 6, 7 innings pitching. Limit everybody, especially 2 to 3 innings, because I think that's what you're going to see in the NCAA tournament too.
Right,
you're going to see more pitchers used in a shorter per inning, per diem for each of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it only makes sense because at the end of the day, like I said, we've been saying every single show, it's a marathon. We playing for the long game. So at the end of the day, you don't want to get your best guys tired out, arms sore, et cetera, et cetera. So it just makes sense to give everybody an opportunity to do they do, get hot, make some magic, get some outs, and then go ahead and sit those guys and put them back in the bullpen and just relax and watch. William Brown, is Arkansas in no pressure SEC's tournament status?
Mm-hmm. No reason to worry about it.
Yeah, no reason to worry about it. So you do know at some point when they do lose and they don't win it all, somebody say Dave Van Horn needs to be fired. The batting coach needs to be fired. Y'all notice? I'm gonna say it now so we can clip it. So when it happens, somebody will post, "Oh my God, I can't believe we lost to this team and they're a low level team. We're never going to make it to Omaha." Yeah, it's one of those things. Who was this comment? Williams. Stardale and Carter, game 1. Agree, disagree, guys.
I wouldn't be mad at it because I think get a guy that hasn't pitched much coming off injury, which some of them have been healthier. It's just kind of waiting to find the moment to bring him in.
Right.
But get one of these guys that you want to become, or, you think can be one of your starters. You think is going to be one of your starters in the future. Like get them off, get them out of the dugout.
Yeah.
Like I said, SEC tournament, you don't need to win. There's no pressure on you whatsoever. And, I was kind of shocked that they started Jimenez this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. I think you should have done that sooner, whatever. I'm not Dave Van Horn, obviously. So, but in this case, yeah, I'd go for Dylan Carter, get him back in the rotation, see what he can do, because you're going to need to use these guys in, hopefully, 1 to 3 inning stretches come NCAA tournament time.
Yeah, hopefully if Carter goes out there and shine, this won't be a Desmond James situation where you ball out in the bowl game and all of a sudden get Porter.
Make sure like his walkout song is like from one of the Carter albums.
I like it. See, we need to hook you up with DJ Derek so you can go get that together, because you missed the mashup. And shout out to you for the intro today. I was over here bobbing my head with the mashup, so shout out to you for that. You know who it is? My favorite, Miss Teresa. I just cannot stay behind the current batting coach. Sorry.
A lot of people feel that same way. Nate Thompson.
But isn't this one of our better years in regards to bats?
Yes. Because we're like top 5 nationally.
What you about to say, Hart?
I was thinking somebody posted a picture the other day of basically our entire lineup was batting over 300.
Starting lineup, yeah. You know, they've had their slumps, which happens every year. I will say that I like this style of play offensively that we've seen this season versus gorilla ball. You know, we've seen the small ball laying down bunts. It's one of those things. There's still a struggle, and he's an easy one to pick on. But this season, in my opinion, has been superior to others. I mean, when you're looking at, you're basically in the top 5 in almost every statistical category. That bodes well for, you know, fielding, hitting, etc. So, I mean, home runs, batting percentage, on base, slugging percentage. I mean, they're up there with literally everybody in the country.
Gotcha. Before we transition, I do want to get a comment, and then of course we got to pay some bills. Let me get this, Mr. Brown. I did forget your comment. Women's softball is about to win their regional of 6-0.
Good.
Top of the third. Look, the ladies have been putting on a show. Like I said, if you haven't been watching softball, I would suggest you at least try to catch a game so you can see what the excitement is about. Courtney Dyson, Coach D. As I tell Adam all the time, she's hot. Look.
You assume that that's what all white guys say about attractive women. Because you always ask me, is she hot?
Yeah, because I love your response. But yeah, Coach D been doing the thing, man.
Oh, they announced the Golden Spikes semifinalists for baseball.
I was going to bring that up, yeah.
Oh, I didn't go for
do
it.
you have the list? I was just going to remind everybody to vote for Viva. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, he's on there, but they put out all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 25 finalists.
Oh, never mind.
Gotcha.
I'm not going to go through that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Let me get Mr. Risa coming real quick. I was at the game Thursday and Friday. Friday, after going through lineup, all were over 300. Okay, so you acknowledge that.
And this is a little stat from Andrew Hutchinson about the finalists or semifinalists on the Golden Spikes. Arkansas faced 3 pitchers who are among the 25 Golden Spikes semifinalists. Those pitchers combined for an 8.53 ERA and 2.13 whip against the Hogs, who slashed .379 batting average, 6 home runs against them. So that means that Arkansas batters basically dominated the pitchers that are on the Golden Spikes semifinalist list.
Who will be on that list? Tennessee.
You've got Tennessee. That's what I was when I saw that stat.
LSU.
You've got Arkansas, LSU, Georgia, Tennessee, Auburn, Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas, and then some other schools that we haven't played. So,
Gotcha. All right. Anything else on baseball before we transition to basketball before we pay these bills?
no, I'm good.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and run it. Let's pay some bills. Show some love real quick.
Let's step out of the batter's box for a second and talk about something just as important as Arkansas baseball. Your home. Our teammates over at Premium Supply are the heavy hitters of home improvement. They've got all the tools you need to knock your next project out of the park. Siding, soffit, columns, windows, doors, vents, decking, the whole lineup. Whether you're building from the ground up or just doing some infield maintenance, Premium Supply is your go-to utility player. With locations in Conway, North Little Rock, Russellville, and Jonesboro, there's always a Premium Supply nearby ready to step up to the plate. So if you're looking for big league products with all-star customer service, take a swing at www.premiumsupplyllc.com. Use promo code HOGHQ for a 5% discount on your next purchase. Premium Supply, where we treat each of our customers like one of the family.
Shout out to Premium Supply. I had to take a small popsicle break. It was the break time. Shout out to Premium Supply. always remember to mention Hog HQ for your purchase so you can get that good old discount. Speaking of that, real talk, I do know it was some weather that came through the state.
Mm-hmm.
Any major damage in either one of you guys' area?
No, not yet at least. I know Fort Smith, they're looking at more tomorrow being our time for severe weather. It's been starting to move in this afternoon. Skies started getting darker when moving in. So Fort Smith seems very ominous and very eerie, but they're saying it's not going to be till tomorrow.
Gotcha. All right, watching the women right now, going into the top of the fourth, 6-0. Also voted, for today for Golden Spikes. That's what's up. We need to go ahead and vote. I do got to ask a question before we transition into this. Can we talk about the raffle?
Sure.
Yeah.
So, like I said, a lot been going on. I missed the whole situation until we got in the group text. And I'm looking like raffle. I missed the whole situation. So if anybody else was like me and missed the whole situation about the raffle, can we get a brief explanation about the raffle and how did it go?
So, my big deal with the raffle at first, which, like Porter and I talked about, I'll eat crow on this because I didn't think that this was going to have much legs. But obviously you can see the total jackpot ended yesterday, basically 283,000.
Mm-hmm.
Winner got 140,000. And then, of course, taxes still get 70,000, but that's with anything you win like this. My issue at first was just, all the stuff that was going on with Bet Saracen trying to get the NIL 50-50. Didn't come to fruition because legislation and Oakland and others pitting against it, if you will. It's one of those things that it's here. Obviously, it worked the first go around. Now we'll see how it continues. I haven't seen any clarity on if they'll be able to do this during the SEC tournament. If this is only for win home games, if we're not going to see this again until football season. This is all the money that's split goes to the Razorback Foundation. This does not go to NIL. This cannot be used on NIL. This is used in whatever capacity the Razorback Foundation deems fit, whatever they think it should be used for. That could be buyouts, that could be facilities, that could be salary, that could be whatever. Cannot be, because the Razorback Foundation, any school foundation that's nonprofit, whatever, they cannot contribute to NIL. So none of this will be going to NIL. We probably won't see what any of it's used for. I just hope that, hey, why don't you do some things for the fans? You charge for. I know you're not going to lower concessions because that goes to revenue, which it will be going to players. But hell, stop raising ticket prices. I know you're not going to lower them, but stop raising them. Stop making every basketball game priority parking. You took away the free lots over by the baseball field where fans would park and then bus in. Now it's $5 lots. Yeah, you've got the reseating coming to Bud Walton Arena and the premium suites and whatnot. That money should have already been, allotted beforehand.
Correct.
I'd be mad if this money was going towards it, but we're not going to be privy to what this is used for. But obviously it took off. I can't say that I didn't. I threw in $20 or whatever it was. You don't know if you're going to win unless you play, I guess.
Right. Hard, you bought some tickets too, didn't you?
Yeah, I threw in. I got 10, or I got 5 of them for $10, I think it was, or 10 for 5. Hell, I don't remember. Yeah, I did it too. I think it's cool. From what little I know about it, I think this was going to be their little trial run before football season, so they could kind of iron out any issues they may come across when they were doing it. But that's what little I heard. I haven't heard anything further about doing the postseason or anything. But it's nice. I'm glad they're doing it. And I like that we get a chance to possibly win some. It, makes it worthwhile.
Gotcha.
And like I would like to see in 3 to 6 months, I'd like to see a comparison of growth or decline from Edge when this started. Because I feel like, no, this is something different. It's not going to NIL. but I feel like you'll have some fans that'll be like, hey, I'd rather go to this to where I can win some money versus paying $25 a month
Gotcha.
to Edge. So at some point, some fans are going to make a choice on, hey, I'm going to do this one, not this one. So I'd just like to see kind of those number comparisons 6 months down the road.
Yeah, it'd be great this week to see the P&L and see what actually is going on and see where it's going.
Because
But
that's resurrection. Like we see the end of the year, you know, or end of the fiscal year when they make or lose money, which Arkansas is typically in the black. So that's where I'm like, I would rather this go to players than the foundation that already has money.
I think it's one of those situations you want to see where your money's going.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you contribute in any form or fashion and it goes to the foundation, you want to know where those funds are going. You want to see the improvements, whether it's in the technology, whether it's in the arenas or stadiums, whether it's in, you know, whatever it may be, the improvement of the stadium. If we can start paying more every year, maybe we can keep some damn money on the hill and then actually improve some things. But I digress. Okay. Yeah, Josh, here you go. So boom, going straight into basketball. Transplant Texan, what's up, man? I know that's the salute. Glad you could join us this evening. So let's get straight into this basketball. We know we got a commitment this past week. J.J. Andrews, son of Arkansas great Sean Andrews, offensive lineman. We know he went to the NFL and did his thing. Was a massive man. The move. Yeah, he made.
I had to block him.
Yeah, big Sean was an interesting dude. And I was in school when Sean came. I think Sean was a couple years behind me, but Sean was a big ass kid. And when I tell you he was goofy and silly to be that big, but he had a good old time when he was on the hill. Either way it go, his son is a 4-star within the state. He's at what, Little Rock Christian? Yeah, Little Rock Christian rated a 4-star. And it's one of those situations where you got a guy in state. We know we had one this particular year from Springdale.
Sealy.
Yeah. So we know it's always important, no matter the sport, to keep the in-state guys in state. We talk about building a fence around the state and keeping the guys in state. So it's a big deal that we got here. And now I know you have some information in regards to what it's going to look like going forward. We may know how it looks as far as forming this particular roster coming up. But, you know, some of the big things we talked about was the NIL. What information do you have on J.J. Andrews, and what can we look forward to?
Well, first, I think that he is one that, like him and Sealy both, when you have guys that are at their caliber, I think you could get them, obviously, you know, 4 stars and up. These are guys that, and I say that meaning because we know that Coach Cal is going to go out and get multiple 5 stars.
Right.
We've already seen it. We saw it with Muss. So when you see these guys in state and they're at that 4-star spot and they're right on, you know, they're on that brink of teetering the other way, you know, up to 5-star, you've got to go get them. Right. Lock them in, because I think they'll help bridge kind of a gap between the players coming in from other states, and they'll help kind of connect them with the state, with the fans, with how they are. You know, they'll give them more of a sense of what this state is all about.
Yeah, the culture being involved. Yeah,
and we all know. I mean, a lot of the guys that come out of the state of Arkansas, especially in the last handful of years, they're what we call the, you know, they've got the dogs in them, whether it's Isaiah, whether it's Jalen Williams,
right,
going back to Daniel Gafford. So like these guys like kind of show and lead what this state's about and what we have. And so I think it's great. And when these guys are here in the state, you've got to get them. NIL wise. So what's being thrown out there, shout out to Dixon Discord, but is he was given $400,000 up to $1 million. So with that is $400K. And then before he gets to campus, which he still has his senior year, he will be reevaluated before he gets to campus. And then they'll determine if that's going to go up from the $400K.
Gotcha.
So, but they'll do that right before he gets here, because when he gets here, they won't be able to necessarily negotiate because that'll be against the NIL rules.
Mhm.
So they'll do all that before he gets here, but he will be reevaluated to see if they're going to come up from that 400K.
Gotcha. Josh, I'm gonna get you a question in a minute, but I do want to go to Hart. Let me get your take on JJ Andrews. How you feeling about him committing to Coach Cal and the Hogs and being a legacy kid?
I think it's a huge addition, to be honest with you. And being a legacy, you really think he could bring that dog and want to really represent the state and um, bring pride back to us, to the Hog basketball program like we've experienced in the past. I think it's a big get. I'd like to see him be able to shoot a little better, but he's crazy athletic. And I think he's going to be one of those wings that we can kind of like Knox a little bit, something like that. That's what I kind of expect him to be.
Gotcha. Josh, get into your comment. Any rumors of assigned shooting to the team? Losing our 3 best 3-point shooters off an already bad shooting team. You got a great point. They was not good at 3 ball. Mr. Hart, you got anything in regards to the current players that have committed that's going to play as far as the 3-point percentage?
I don't have the percentages in front of me. Of course, you had DJ who didn't shoot the great percentage, but he tended to make the clutch threes that we needed.
Yeah.
And then Knox, he stepped up, especially as time went on, hitting postseason time. He started making his threes and stepping up big. Those are the 2 that I think of right off the top. And then Acuff, he can kind of shoot a little, but Malik Thomas, he would be one. Those are the main ones I can think of right now. But who knows if we're done with the roster or not.
What is his name? The foreign guy.
Kareem
Ritali, yeah.
His skill set.
I'll learn it before he gets here.
Yeah, right. So his skill set. So any chance he's a shooter, slasher?
I think he's more of a slasher. I don't feel like he's a 3-point threat. I think your 3-point shots are going to come from an Acuff off the dribble, Malik Thomas. Like you said about DJ Wagner, I mean, spotty at times. I think DJ will get more comfortable, kind of like we saw towards the end of the year. It's one of those things that I don't necessarily – I hate to say if Cal's not worried about it, I'm not worried about it. But at the same time, it's like there's obviously some sort of plan, because you're going to look at your errors or miscues from the previous season and try to change those, correct those. What did I just have at the back of my head? And then also, like Matt touched on, if Jameer Watkins pulls out of the NBA draft, or, that's still on the table. Coach Cal has, said that he's fine with the roster, but at the same time, that Jameer Watkins is that guy that if he withdraws from the NBA draft, combine just wrapping up, or about to wrap up, what is today, the 18th, got 2 more days, which they have until the 28th, I believe, to withdraw to return to college. I think you see Jameer Watkins in a Razorback uniform, and that's another addition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you mentioned that. 2 things I want to get into, and I'll just drop it and let you guys run with it. One name that you did not, I do agree with your sentiments about Coach Cal looking at some of the issues, opportunities from the previous year, and then find a way to work with that and add to this new nucleus of players. One player that you guys did not mention that we know needs to add to his offensive game if he plans on going to the league, and it's a reason that he came back, is Trevor Brazile. If Trevor Brazile can actually work on his damn shot, I mean, if at this point, sir, we know you're not a guy who's going to get in the paint and bang with the big boys. That's not really your style. Like, you can do it. You can do it. At the same time, in order to make it in the NBA with his length and his size and height, he has to be able to put the ball on the floor himself and create his own shot. And part by doing it is, hey, we've seen times where he posts up in the corner, get a little crossover, and then boom, went for the 3. So if he can get to the point to where he can add to his offensive arsenal and be able to hit some threes from outside, that's going to be big. That's going to be huge for us. So I'm interested to see what that is. I do want to get to these comments, but before we do that, I do know we talked about Watkins. I don't know that face you got going. I don't know.
Because I'm going to touch on Trevor Brazile right quick.
Yeah.
I was just letting you finish before I interrupted.
Gotcha. So you talk about players who entered their name into the draft and going through trials and trying to get a feel for where they're going to go. Boogie Flan. Anything on Boogie Flan?
Well, I'm going to touch on Trevor Brazile first.
Okay, go ahead. Go Trevor Brazile. Let's do it.
I think one thing that helps him with because what you're saying is 100% correct, is the fact that you've gone out and gotten guys that can actually play the 5, hoping that they stay healthy. Mm-hmm. You're not going off this Euro big man with a Visic. I think you saw that didn't work. Mm-hmm. Hell, under previous regimes, we saw that it didn't work with Connor Vanover.
Yeah, Steve Man.
So I think going and getting true, obviously things would have been slightly different if Adu had been healthy all season, but he wasn't. But when he got healthier towards the season's end, we started seeing the Trevor Brazile that he is and that he wants to be, needs to be, that we need him to be for an entire season. So if you can get him away from having to play the 5 and having to play the big man, like, he will be in a much better situation, which then in turn I think improves his confidence and improves his shooting choices and percentages and all that. You know, Boogie, like you were just touching on, I haven't heard anything about visits, who's contacted him. I'm just going to say this, like I have been saying for weeks on in when all this stuff comes out. And so take it for what you want, but believe Bo Mattingly if you want to. He took the same article in the story that was put out by a Florida writer, and all that stuff started with Boogie on Florida having a guard transfer to, I think, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And so then they're like, oh, shit, we're down a guard. Okay, let's go to the portal list, see who's in the portal. Oh, Boogie Flan's the top-rated guard. Oh, well, if he comes to Florida, he can get this much money, and then it spiraled from there. Mm. Then you started seeing all these people picking up on it. Then you started seeing Arkansas people picking up on it. Stop. He's not going to go get $7 million from Florida.
No.
If he was going to, he would have already done it. Honestly, if I think that if he is to not return to Fayetteville, I personally would not be surprised to see him in St. John's with the likes of a Rick Pitino. Go back home. You're on a team that's obviously good. You're on a coach who's going to put you in the NBA. You're on a team that the coach can feature you. I think that's going to be a big key for Boogie, is what good team can he go to be the guy to get his minutes. And now, granted, we know that injury hampered a lot of that this last season, but Boogie's not going to go somewhere where he's not going to be the guy. Right. And so I think that's one of the things with Arkansas is he's not going to be here as much as I want him to be here. This offense is going to be Darius Acuff's to run.
Correct.
When he gets here or whenever, next season. So as much as I want to see Boogie back in Fayetteville, I do not see it happening. If it doesn't happen, this wasn't like a bad divorce, a bad breakup.
Right.
Just went and tested the draft, not really didn't work out this year. So going back, doesn't feel like he has a place here because he's not going to be the guy. More power to him to go somewhere else.
This is interesting to me, and I understand ego comes into it, machismo, etc. But part of some of the greater vets in the league that maybe not be superstars, guys who have longevity in the league, these are guys who know how to accept their role. And if Boogie Flan can accept this role and get mature about his leadership, then he could be the guy in a different status. But if you don't want to pound the ball all damn day like you James Harden, and you want to shoot threes like Steph Curry, and you want to cross people up like Kyrie, just be your damn self. At the end of the day, if you can be a leader of young men and lead teams to victories, and then be clutch when it's time to make those shots, those are the things, and play great defense. Those are things that's going to get you to the league and keep you at home in the league. So I get what you're saying. I totally agree with what you guys are saying, but I think he's going about the wrong way. Once again, he has to figure out how this is going to work for him.
And why risk it at this point? Like with college the way it is with revenue sharing coming up with NIL, if you're not a lottery pick, use your eligibility, exhaust your eligibility, because you're at this point now where you're going to make more in college, depending on who you are, than you're going to make on a two-way in the NBA. Wait until you're a lottery pick. And that's where I think, Arkansas, Kansas, North Carolina, Kentucky, you've got these schools that, whether it's the name of the school, whether it's the coach, you've got these teams, or, I think you're going to see a team like Arkansas with a coach like John Calipari, that this is going to work more to their advantage, because you're going to have players saying, hey, there's only a handful of coaches that are going to get me to the NBA in ample time.
Correct.
I've got this little window, so I'm only going to, these are the only places I'm going to go. Unless you're just at a high school like Cooper Flagg, who third started, was deemed number one pick before he stepped foot at Duke.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was interesting about Boogie as well. If Boogie never got hurt and he had a decent numbers, those numbers weren't phenomenal. If he never got hurt, he still would have enrolled into the draft. He still probably would have been maybe 12, 15, somewhere in that range. But the fact that he's trying to rekindle his freshman year and try to get that spark back and get his stake up real high to go ahead and cash in, I understand it. But like I said, it'll be interesting to see where he lands and how it all plays itself out. I do want to ask this. Mr. Green, yes, these. I used to wear, See, when you grow up and you have to wear glasses, you hate wearing glasses. And then when you get to be an adult and people say, man, you look so nice in glasses, then you just start buying glasses. Now, look, here goes some more. Oh, man, look, the FSA gets spent every year. Yeah, we don't do that. So, yeah, I definitely wear prescriptions.
I have 2 eye insurances instead of doing the FSA.
Really?
Because I do, contacts on one of them, glasses on the other.
And your prescription is really thick, so I'm sure you need extra.
-9.5 in contacts, and -10.5 in glasses.
Legally blind.
And then I have to get the lenses. I have to get thinned down as much as possible, or otherwise it's like Coke bottles.
No, for real.
So
you and Hart, both of y'all, fuck that.
It's basically I use
my
one.
prescription was bad now, y'all. No.
I use one for glasses, one for contacts, and just.
Mine was 2.5 and then 2.75.
I was in that second grade.
I wish. You know when you're a kid and you wear glasses, and then you get these little. When you get
that's why I only wear the plastic whatever frames that don't have the nose pads now.
Right. Yeah. Well, I tell you, this was all dark, beat up, trying to play basketball, and somebody fouled.
Playing basketball in glasses sucked.
But I refuse to wear the rec specs.
I'm not going Horace Grant.
No, not good. I wasn't going to do it.
Who was I think Tom Chambers for Phoenix did years back in the 70s too. I'm not rocking them.
Yeah, once I got contacts in the 7th grade, 8th grade, it was over with.
And then now I sleep in my contacts, so you know.
Yeah, when we go to the doctor, me and you the same person. Hey, have you been taking your contacts out nightly? Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna know when you look at my eyes that I haven't been. So I can tell you whatever right now.
I've been wanting to say contact for 2 months. Yeah, trying to stretch them out. It is what it is. But yeah.
They're not cheap. So
no, they're not cheap, buddy. They're not cheap.
Kurt Rambis is who I was thinking.
Kurt Rambis. You know you are a Suns fan.
Loud ass notification was that?
It was mine. Sorry. So if my family watching, Adam said stop texting. It's doing it while we were recording. All right. I do want to get this. Why can't we can play Boogie, DJ, Darius at the point? I'd much rather have shooting. We can't.
Basically, yeah. Let one of them, which we're not going to have Boogie back. So, yeah, I get it. We miss. It sucks not having an Isaiah Jota or even JD Note, even Mason Jones, the guy that you knew that they were going to knock it down in the clutch.
Thanks.
Shout out Joseph Pinion, where you at? South Florida, that's where. But it is what it is. Yeah. You hope that one of these guys can step up and just hit it when it counts. But at the same time, we got to the Sweet 16 in Cal's first year on a season that a lot of us gave up on.
Hell yeah. Especially
So, at some point, Cal's going to find his Reed Shepherd or, somebody. I don't know. I put out yesterday, he had gone to visit Knipple 2027. Well, no,
his little brother.
It's the little brother. There's apparently like 3 or 4 of those brothers, and the next one is in 2027. The one after that's currently in 9th grade. But he was at the Nike EYBL, so Cal was looking at him. He's already a 6'8" shooting guard.
Knipple from Duke, he balled out in the tournament. Yeah, he gonna mess up the lottery pick.
His little brother's something special.
Hey, real quick, my boy Jenga said 9.5. Jeez.
So at least that they're the same in both eyes, so I don't have to buy 2 different prescriptions.
I didn't consider it.
There are 2 different boxes of contacts.
All right, Ty. I see the NBA raising pay to get them not to return to college. It's not gonna work. You get way more freedom in college.
You play half the games.
Hell yeah, half the games, more money, especially on a rookie contract. Especially if you're not a lottery pick, you get money in college that NBA players are not even getting.
Shout out, speaking of NBA, Oklahoma City going to the Western Conference Finals. Jalen and Isaiah.
Yeah.
So you got Ann Edwards in Minnesota in your way. I think isn't that who they're playing?
Ant-Man.
Yeah, that's who they're playing. And then New York and Indiana.
Which talk about like a throwback Eastern Conference Finals.
Oh yeah. It's
90s.
It's good for the game. It's good for the game because all the big names that we're accustomed to seeing is rolling to the end of that era. So the LeBron, the Steph, KD just keep trying to find teams to latch on to and get a championship. It's getting to the point where these young Bulls are actually stepping up. These teams have been down for so long. Oklahoma City has finessed the draft process and trading these picks so where they just get all these nice first round picks.
You know who hasn't? Phoenix.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my Bulls are similar to my Steelers. We
don't have a quarterback?
No.
Neither have a quarterback. There's your common connection.
No. We're not good enough to be in the playoffs, but we're not horrible enough to be at the top of the lottery.
Oh, so you mean 500?
The lottery is rigged.
500. Is that what you're telling me?
So when we get to picking, all the top dudes is gone, and you just got to find diamond in the rough.
When does Aaron sign into the dotted line?
We don't give a damn about Aaron Rodgers, dude. At some point, we'll sign him. He will sign. He's probably somewhere in the cave. He's in the cave right now, talking to spirits or something. I don't know what the hell Aaron Rodgers is doing.
Shrooms, probably.
Probably.
I mean, what was the selling pitch to DK Metcalf? Hey, Mason Rudolph is going to be your quarterback?
It wasn't the quarterback. Because where he was at, he already had horrible quarterbacks or decent, below average quarterbacks. It's about being a part of a culture. It's about being a part of a culture.
A culture.
Yeah.
A culture that wide receivers turn crazy after a concussion. Or
you could go to a team where wide receivers just get drafted just to block. They don't. Yeah, that's the Ravens. That's all they fucking do is block. They don't. You don't have receivers who have back-to-back 1,000-yard season with touchdowns. They just block. They might.
Can they be tight ends?
The Ravens should just draft Razorback receivers because all they do is block.
Can they be tight ends? Back-to-back 1,000-yard receiver. I mean,
I'm not. All those nipples can ball. Yeah. Ty, KJ Jefferson. Hell no. Ty, why? Ty, I like it. I really do. You never cease to amaze me. I like what you did there. Oh no, cannot do it. Pittsburgh about to miss playoffs 2 years in a row. Don't do that.
I think they're going to fire Tomlin if they don't make the playoffs, and I think it's messed up.
I don't. That's never going to happen. A guy that's never had a losing record.
Hard. See, this is the part where you just blasphemy shit. You don't even.
If they miss the playoffs, I think they will come for him because they were trying to come for him last year.
You don't even have a team in pro football. Every now and then, you like the Cowboys, and the Cowboys have won a Super Bowl since he was on VHS.
Hey, speaking of which, I found VHS of their Super Bowl highlights for $8 on eBay.
Who?
I did. I found it for the Cowboys.
Hell no. That's cold blooded. That's cold blooded. The Cowboys will be better this year, though. I can't lie. I like football.
Because they have George Pickens?
No, because
Yes, he's going to take attention away from
what's his
CD.
name? Oh,
CD
you know,
Lamb.
you know his name. Okay, gotcha.
Mhm.
So,
Who?
Aaron is the Tomlin killer. Aaron Rodgers is definitely a damn coach killer. I hope both of y'all wrong in regards to that. I would just say this hard. Okay, so in normal NFL standards, you are right. You missed the playoffs back to back. You've been there. What have you done for me lately? They terminate you, right? But the Rooney family does not run like that. Our organization is a little bit different. So it's multiple years where they feel like y'all should have been fired, Tom, and he stayed. So it's not a thing that they do.
There's a thing with Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Coaches struggle for a season or two, whatever, but we don't like the longest tenured coaches in the NFL.
Yeah, facts.
AFC North. So
Yeah. I mean, I like Tomlin. I think he's one of the better coaches in the NFL. I just think his undoing is going to be that he's taken a lot of average teams to the playoffs and not advanced, and so they're going to say, "Oh, you've lost all these games in the first round," but they didn't consider they took all these teams that shouldn't have went to the playoffs. I think that's what's going to undo him is his playoff record, basically. Eventually,
that's the 1993 Super Bowl highlights.
Mr. Rich is gonna get here and say, "Go Chiefs!" All right, Tomlin should have been fired ever since he tripped Jacoby Jones. Down here. Look, okay. We
R.I.P. Jacoby Jones.
Yeah, we understand you're a Ravens fan too. Oh man, them big ass shoulder pads. Yeah, the Razorback jersey.
Hey, and y'all want to know what else too? Emmitt Smith is not the greatest running back in NFL history.
No, he ran behind the greatest offensive line in NFL history. I got to give credit to that. But no, he's definitely not the greatest running back. No.
Longevity doesn't mean you're the greatest, LeBron.
I knew exactly. That's so wrong. LeBron James, you're wrong for that. All right, look, I do want to get back into what's on the schedule before we get up out of here. Karter Knox.
Waiting for the official announcement, but he's already told coaching staff he's returning to Arkansas after he withdrew from the NBA Combine or withdrew. We were told beforehand that he was going for draft grades. That's all he's going for. What does he need to work on? Where's he at? So I never had any concerns about him not coming back to Fayetteville. It's just a matter of when. So we're just waiting on the official announcement, but he's already told coaching staff that he's returning. I know as the Combine started, he impressed a lot. He just wasn't up there like on, let's say, ESPN's mock draft and whatnot. So he came back. Now I think if he had been thrown up there, it's first, like, oh shit, he's first pick. Yeah, or first round pick. You're gonna, okay, do I need to come back? But he wasn't. So he got his grades. He's coming back. So I think him and Billy Richmond are going to be a force year too.
Gotcha. I think we got a good nucleus coming back. Some guys who let's just be clear, when you started 0-5, nobody believed in you. You had to believe in yourself. Part of the mantra last year was believe in each other and build a chemistry as opposed to being individual players. Learn each other's abilities offensively and defensively and work off of those and build it. We actually seen this team transition and build chemistry with each other. We've seen players come out the woodworks. We've seen Billy Richmond come off the bench, have some flashes, great defensive prowess, and then show up big, whether it comes to fast break dunks, come tournament time, make amazing plays, big shots, things of that nature, as people will say. So to see those guys come back and understand where they came from to where they ended up, because nobody expected that team to go where they went in the tournament. And to beat some of the teams they beat, you beat Bill Self in the first round, bro. Nobody expected that shit. Nobody, unless you just a diehard fan, you just rock with Arkansas regardless. But nobody expected to beat Bill Self in Kansas and then turn around and say, okay, we made it. Well, that's good enough. No, you mess around to beat Louisville. St. John. So those are two big games they won. So it'll be amazing to see what those guys have with a year under their belt with Coach Cal, and then having these new athletic guys come in and just see what they can really put together. Once again, I think people will still be upset if we don't come out just blowing people out and all that good stuff. But just wait and see. We'll just let it play itself out. Mr. Hart, is there anything we need to get from you in regards to all that we discussed tonight, or something we can look forward to coming up in the upcoming weeks?
I would say look for Karter Knox as one. From there, we can keep it on Boogie Flynn, maybe. I just don't think that's going to happen. Keeping on Jameer Watkins. Those are the names that I've really heard about. Basically, last weekend when I was hanging out with my guy, he told me as far as Jameer Watkins, he's the only person that we're really after right now, or been in contact with for the most part. And like we had said in the group, Boogie Flynn, there's a chance, but it's slim that he would come back here. It's very likely he's going somewhere else.
Hey, I just got sent this text.
Huh?
Did you get it from him on the bottom of the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, y'all ain't shit as a unit. Yeah. You know what? I need you to enjoy this because the season it's gonna start. It's gonna be a good season. I also heard it tomorrow doing the reseeding for the playoff in the NFL. I'm excited about that. So finally, we'll just go with who has the best record and not who is.
That needed to be done a long time ago.
Yeah, I know, right?
Because I'm sorry, all y'all weak ass NFC West. I'm sorry, when you're the best teams in your conference went 9-7, 9 and whatever, you don't deserve to be in.
Right.
Or you go play in the wild card. How about that?
Yeah. Because everybody know the AFC North is the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, NFC North, y'all just had a good season.
Yeah, it was what it was. All right, Mr. Adam, anything you got to add before we get ready to get out of here? Anything to look forward to in the upcoming week before we get on again?
Nope.
Gotcha.
Simple enough.
Gotcha. Okay, look, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here, guys. Hope you guys enjoy you guys' week. Hopefully, Arkansas people, Arkansas family, please, if you need to take shelter, make sure that you are looking out for this weather in certain areas. I do know Adam talked about tomorrow being a day the weather is going to be heavy in the northwest area of the state. So please take shelter. Like I said, check on your people after tomorrow. Just make sure everybody's good. Just love on your neighbor, man. You know what I'm saying? You know how it go. It's always good to look out for each other in time of need. With that being said, guys, we're going to get up out of here. I don't know how, Matt, half of your face. Anyway, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all supporting us, man. Like, subscribe, and share all this content. We appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all on the next one. With that being said, we out. Let me get on this side.